we are healed. Whatever you've gone through, I know of mothers that have died of a broken heart. I know of fathers that have died of a broken heart. I know children that are not well because they have a broken heart. And they just can't take it and they give up. Well, I don't really understand this, but I know that every broken heart, Jesus Christ bore that on the cross. He carried every pain that I've ever suffered and that I will ever suffer. Every heartache that you've had, he bore it and will bear for you. No one is a friend like Jesus. Make them think you're happy. Lie and say that things are fine. And hide that empty longing that you feel. Don't ever show it. Just keep your heart cool. Are the days so lonely? I wonder where can the heart go free? And who will dry the tears that no one sees? There must be someone to share your silent dream. Caught like a leaf in the wind, looking for a friend. Where can you turn? Whisper the words of a prayer, and you'll find him there, arms open wide, love in his eyes. Jesus, he meets you where you are. Jesus, he heals your secret scars. All the love you're longing for is Jesus, friend of a wounded heart. Joy comes like the morning. Hope deepens as you grow, and peace beyond the reaches of your soul come flowing through you, for love has made you whole. Once like a leaf in the wind, looking for a friend, where could you turn? You spoke the words of a prayer, and you found him there, arms open wide.
Hello, everyone. Good evening. It is another time, the counselor. It's a wonderful thing to be alive and well. It's a wonderful thing to be a part of the family of God. It's a wonderful thing to be raised in a good family. It's a wonderful thing to have my family around me. The month of June, we are focusing on the family. And so each Thursday night for this month, we'll be looking at family matters, issues about the families, challenges, healthy family, dysfunctional family. We just want to talk about family this month. All right? The family is a very important unit, the most important unit. It is in the family where our children learn the values, the beliefs, the attitude. The family is the first institution, educational institution, the family unit. Before that child goes to school, yes, the child learns so many things at home. So when they get to school at age 3, yes, early childhood, they would have already formed their own personality, their values, beliefs, behavior, and so on. All right, so the family is most important. The family makes up the society, the family makes up the world. So, family life is key, family is important, and so we are focusing on our families for this month. The psychology of the family studies the family as a system, analyzing behaviors, communication, patterns, and emotional responses. Family psychologists provide counseling on marriage, divorce, abuse, bereavement, parenting, adoption, etc. So we have psychologists that focus mainly on their main focus is on the family, because the family, as I said earlier, is so important to all of us. Family dynamics. Family dynamics are the patterns of relating or interactions between family members. Each family system and its dynamics are unique, although there are some common patterns. All right? Let's look at some types of families. We have what we call a nuclear family. What is that? The nuclear family is the tradition, what we refer to as the traditional family, where you have a mother, father, and children. So that's the nuclear family, the traditional type of family. And probably would say that's what God intended, for the family to be: the father must be present, the mother must be present, and of course we have children. All right? So that's the nuclear family. Then we have what we call the single parent family. So some of us were raised in the nuclear family type, where daddy is always around, mommy is always around, and the children, and we grow up and then we start our families. All right? And the cycle continues. Then we have what we call the single parent family, where you may find a mother live with her children, or a father. But in our Jamaican situation, or Caribbean, mostly in the Caribbean, we have single parent families, right? Where there's a mother, in most cases, is raising her children single handedly. The father may be dead, or he may be having visiting relationships where he just go. And this single parent thing is coming from way back, way back from slavery. All right, where the slaves, the fathers, were taken to various plantations. Yes, so they are here. Probably started out as a nuclear family, but then when the slave masters would have, probably they want this one to go and work on their farm. You know, looking strong and healthy and can work very hard. They will take them from their homes and take them to another place. and then you'll find that the mother is left with the children to raise single-handedly, and then that slave male may go to another plantation and get involved with another woman, get her pregnant, and then he's probably move again to another plantation. Yes, and so you find that a number of mothers ended up have to raise their children on their own, single parent. And sad to say, some of them may not even know their fathers, some of the children, because by the time pregnancy occur, and then by the time baby is born, the father is taken again to another place. All right, so we have single parent families, and that is reflected in our Caribbean culture so much. And in most cases, you have some fathers who are living with their children alone because whether the mother has died or has, another relationship has moved out. But it is more so the mothers who would be raising the children single handedly. We call that a single parent family. The mother is providing probably the sole breadwinner, is the sole breadwinner of the family. Then we have what we call the extended family. Now that is also reflected so much in the Caribbean, among Caribbean people. So the extended family could be mother, father, grandparents, auntie, uncle, cousin, niece, nephew. You understand? Big family. So a number of us grew up in extended families. Some of us are from single parent homes. We have what we call the childless family. All right, so you have a couple coming to a mother and a father together, but they're having a relationship, but there's no child, no children. So we call that the childless family. Then we have what we call the step family, where it could be step parents. So let's say a mother has moved on, the relationship did not work out, so the mother has moved on, or the father has moved on, and then the mother or the father, gets involved with another person, whether through marriage or just having a relationship, and then out of that you may find children come, so they call it stepchildren. And so let's say your father has passed on and mommy married to somebody else. That person that comes into your life, into the home, is now seen as the stepfather. All right? Then we have what we call the grandparent family. Again, as we look in our society, we see a number of those families, yes, where grandparents are actually raising the children because of, it could be because their biological parents have migrated, they have gone elsewhere, migrated probably in the same, um, to another parish in our Jamaican context, or to another country, probably gone to work to get a better life, so to speak. And so the grandparents are now raising the family, the children. Or it could mean that they have just moved on to have another relationship. So have this child or these children, things did not work out with this man, this woman, so bring them home to grandparents to raise them. Or it could be a situation where they you're out there with your relationship, things going good, but you get a child on the outside, in marriage you can't take the child to the matrimonial home. So you take the child to your mother or your father's home, or so to raise that child, because it could be a big problem if you want to take that child to the matrimonial home. All right, so the grandparents are raising the children. Then you also have what we call a sibling family. Sibling, where probably both parents are away, or they have passed on, or for whatever reason, but it's no mother or father is in the home raising the children. It's like a big sister or a big brother, and they're in charge and raising the children. right? Now I know the family types in our modern day society. We have other families, other persons coming together and say that they're a family. But the nuclear family is what is the traditional family, what God intended. Yes? Because if there were no fathers, you and I could not be here. Yes? So the father is important and the mother is also important. So God's intention is that there should be a male and a female created by God to come together for procreation and to create that family. Let's look a little about the nuclear family. When children are born into the nuclear family, where the baby sees mother and father, it causes them to develop that sense of trust, that sense of confidence as they see both parents. And it is said that children can know their parents' face as early as 6 months or even earlier. All right? They know the father's face, they know the mother's face, they know their voice. And so they say that even while the mommy is pregnant, it is important for the mommy to talk to the fetus, the father to talk to the fetus. Yes, touch the mommy's tummy, rub mommy tummy, you know, and cause that child to feel that fetus, that emotional, the mommy can pass that emotional feeling to the baby. So if mommy, while she's pregnant, she gets that gentle, gentle, loving touch, that is going to be transferred to the baby. And on the other hand, if she's treated badly, you know, if she's in an abusive relationship, all of that will impact on the fetus. So the nuclear family is important, a healthy family. All right? I know in many cases it doesn't work out. A number of time it person because of various reasons the nuclear family don't work out. But it is God's ideal. And so we should strive to have that stable relationship. It creates stability for the child. Stability. The nuclear family, it creates stability. Um, it's not an in and out, room for rent, you know. From the child is growing up, they see a stable home where daddy is there providing for the family, love, support, financial support, and mommy is also giving her support as well. And so the child grows up feeling very confident, feel secured, and that's what we need in the society. People who are confident and secured. All right. The single parent family studies have shown. All right, I know some persons argue this, but studies have shown that a number of our children who drop out of school, get into the wrong company, don't do well so well in school, some of them are behind bars, they are from single family homes. Now, you may say that's not true, but studies have proven that, and there are the exceptions. All right, because you may be looking at it and said, I'm a single parent and I'm doing extremely well with my child or children, or I can testify to say that they have passed the worst, they are now doing well in society. They are the exceptions, all right? And praise God for that. But the single parent family is not the best thing because the children need both parents. They need the father's influence on their lives and the mother's influence. So I'd say for to single parent, if you find yourself as a single parent, you know, the father's gone about his business or the mother's gone about her business, find the missing, find some help, you know, as it relates to the missing adult. So there's going to be, you need to get a lady to help to groom the children, right? Not all to plait their hair, comb their hair and bathe them and keep them. Also for the emotional touch, the emotional influence, yes, to teach them the values and so on. We need that person. And in the same breath, for the gent for the if the male is missing, you find someone who can assist you to raise your child, because the family is important. All right, doesn't mean that you have to go and get a relationship. It could be you look in the church and you see a brother who is able to just help to guide your children. All right, without strings attached, any strings attached, help to guide your children, because they need that kind of stability. Because when fathers, they are so important in the lives of our children. All right, and so when you are missing that link for the child, it is missing. Sometimes, parents, mothers tend to brush it aside as though it's nothing. But the father in the family, he's the person who create that sense of stability. When you are children and somebody trouble you, or a child at school trying to bully you or something, most children say, "I'm going to tell my father here. Watching my father come at school here. I'm going to call my father." And some of them who don't have a father in their life, they refer to a big brother. All right? And that for them it's big, because it's like, this is my backing, this is my security. Yes, I can stand strong when I talk about my father, you know. And so the fathers are very important in families. All right, so I want to encourage our mothers not to downplay the role of the fathers in the family. All right, not to badmouth the fathers, because they're extremely important. Some fathers have taken a back seat, even though they're in the home. They just, it's as though they're not there, possibly because they have been talked down to. They have, just don't feel like they're contributing, or they have not been given the opportunity to contribute to the development of their children as they should. So, mothers, I would say to you, allow the fathers. I think Sunday coming is Father's Day. Yes. So allow the fathers to, or the following Sunday, right? So this month we also celebrate Father's Day, right? So allow the fathers to play that role in the lives of their children. It's extremely important when they are present. Yes, it creates safety and security in the children, and stability. When you're saying to the children, mothers can testify to that, when they say to the children, "Go wash the dishes," and they may say it 50 times, and the child still don't move, or probably just doing other things. But when the mother says, "Your father is coming," or "Wait until he comes," that does something for the child. Yes? So the child respond to that. And so they tend to go and wash the dishes or do whatever they are supposed to do, the chore, what they're supposed to do, because there's that fear, not so much afraid, but when they talk about the father, because he's the person who's the disciplinarian in many cases, where the parents say and the mother say the father, the child pull up and know that, oh, I have to go and do it now because daddy soon come. All right? Father, is also important that even if you're not present in the home because of whatever issue, whatever relationship, whatever, caused you to move out of the home. And many times that is so sad for our children, for the family, but more so for our children when our, one partner just move away, and especially daddy, when you're gone, it really, really negatively impact our children. All right. So before you get up daddy and just move up because there may be a miserable mother, or some other issue, think about the impact it is going to have on the children. All right. I told what research said. It's research has shown that when the father is missing, it will cause children to fail in many areas. A number of the young men behind bars today, they grew up with a missing father. Where is my father? And so it affects his life, her life. All right? So it's important for you to be present, daddy. And if you're not living in the home, visit as often as you can. If you can visit, or if the child can spend a weekend with you or so, or summer holidays, that is important in building a positive family life. All right? You know, some children, their parents break up, separate, go on their separate ways, but the children or the child still feel that sense of love and support because they realize that parents share that love and support with them. And so they understand that, okay, mommy and daddy not living together anymore because of whatever reason. However, I still feel both of the parents' presence in my life. So the child growing up in the family feel a sense of security still. All right, they would have preferred if you are there. Children, that's what they normally say. One of my biggest wish is that daddy will come back home, or mommy will come back home, or my family will be together. So family is extremely important. Family is extremely important. You know, you question a child and they may seem happy and all that, and with the family being apart, and ask them what is their greatest wish, and they're going to tell you, I wish my family were together. Yes. All right. So then with the extended family, this is good. It teach you a sense of sharing, caring. You have grandma passing on some of the values, some of the beliefs, all of that. It is good to have, because some of us, we don't have the privilege of having grandma near us. We have to go, so only go to country, once a while to see grandma and so on. So sometimes it's good when you have the grandparents, yeah, around, and you can sit in grandma lap and just hug grandma, grandpa, and feel that sense of familyness. Yes, it's also good to have uncles and aunts around you who are influencing your life, the children's life, in a positive way. However, in the extended family, things can happen that are not so nice. All right? Because one of the things is said that children's first sexual experience generally happens in the family. Their first. And sometimes in the extended family where you find this kind of exposure, these things can happen to our children, the extended family. All right, so that's why you find that in a nuclear family, some person prefer the nuclear family, so just move away with mother, father, and children, and they stay there into a safe place. Yes, especially if they came up in a family, extended family, where abuse, or any sexual experience happen, they prefer to take their family away. Don't want to have anything to do with any cousins and niece or nephew or uncle or whatever to come and live with them. They could come and visit, but nothing about to stay or to live with us. All right. And so the extended family, though it can be healthy, it can be, in a sense, not a safe zone. All right, because things can happen to nieces, to nephews, and so on, things that are not pleasant and can affect them throughout their lifetime. The childless family, when you think about a home, a couple, most times after marriage, you know, persons are expecting, that yes, children will come. But it could be a couple who have decided that we don't want any children, it's just us. And it may happen among probably older couples, You may have gotten married late, in your 40s, 50s, 60s, and it's okay, that's fine. So you don't really need to take on children because they're going to get you so tired all over the place, you know. And may I quickly say that up to age 80, some persons, after they have lost their partner, they have that desire for marriage again. And person may say, what am I do? What should I do know at this age with man or with woman? It's not so much for sexual fulfillment, it's more so for companionship. All right, it's more so for companionship. So if you have your father, when my father was, my mother died, my father was probably about 80 something, thereabout, and or 84, 82, thereabout, somewhere thereabout. He was thinking of a partner. hmm And looking back at it, I'm saying, yeah, it's loneliness. Yes. And so don't condemn your parents if they say, I want to get married again and I'm almost 100. It is for companionship. All right? So if it is possible, allow them. They could live longer still. Allow them to fall in love and get married. All right? Because they need that form of, that level of companionship. All right? So you find that the childless family, some persons are trying to get children. Yes, and sometimes in the process they can become frustrated and they can get lonely. The home can feel empty because they have been trying to, you know, mommy trying to get pregnant and it's not happening, or So in that case, I would encourage to, the couple to fill that gap with probably an adopted child. There are so many children out there that need a home, a family. Some of them are in homes. Some of them are. Some mothers have many children. I wouldn't mind somebody taking one or two. You understand, to help to ease the burden. All right. Not they're just giving them away like bread or whatever, but just for someone to take this one and to help to monitor them, mentor them, groom them, and to raise them. All right. So I would suggest to the families with the childless family, if you are desirous of having children and they are not coming forth, adopt a child, right? And it is suggested that when you're adopting children, when you're going to adopt a child, you probably should adopt a young child. Why so? Adopt a young child because you have your set of beliefs and values and so on, and attitudes and goals and all that. And you want this person who's going to be growing up in your home to reflect your beliefs, your values, and so on. So it is best to adopt a possibly a baby. Yes, there are babies out there that can be adopted. Adopt a baby or child in its early stage of development, so you can pass on. All right. When you adopt a teenager, it can be a lot of challenges for you. The older the child for adoption, that's where the challenges develop. All right, because the teenagers have already taken on their personality. They have their own set of beliefs, their values, and attitude, and all that. So it is best to adopt a young child that you can groom that child. And one of the things I want to encourage you not to make the mistake to when the child gets to a certain stage, and if the child starts asking questions such as, are you my real parents? Don't lie to the child, right? So you wait until the child asks, right? It is important for us to give children information at the appropriate stage. So the child may get to school and they start talking about the family unit at school, a part of the curriculum. And so the child may come home and say, Mommy, Daddy, are you my real parents? Don't fool them. Tell them the truth. No, we are not. But however, we adopted you when you were 6 months. And give the child the right information. Failing to do that, that could cause the child to develop what we call mistrust. They don't trust you anymore because you're not telling the truth. All right? Okay. Then we have the step family. Step family can be beautiful or it can be terrible. All right. So, if a daddy and a mommy relationship did not work out, a husband and a wife, or mommy has passed on or daddy has passed on, and mommy or daddy decided to get married to somebody else. Now, if the children are small, young children, it is easier for you to get into a relationship. But when they get to the teenage phase or pre adolescent stage, it is said that you should discuss with The children. Discuss with them, Is your life, Yes. But it said that you have to discuss with them what you're going to be doing. All right? So it is best not to jump into a relationship shortly after the death. All right? Because the children may look and feel like, okay, all along you were cheating on daddy, or all along you were cheating on mommy. And that can create some form of conflict in the family. All right? So you give yourself some time. Yes, you may have been lonely and so on, but give yourself some time. And then if you're taking on a relationship, you say to your child, this person is, introduce the person to your child. Don't let the child see the man or the woman just come to the house and start living and start giving you all the children orders, right? That can create a lot of conflict and barriers, yes, and resentment. So you say to the child, introduce the child to the person. This is uncle so and so, this is auntie so and so. Where we are like, we like each other, and we are thinking of having a relationship and to get married. All right. When we do that, the child probably has their own resistance and probably have their own emotional trauma or hurt or so working through. But when we break it, when we do it like that, the child is better able to understand and open up and appreciate this person. All right. Worse if it's a teenager, right? And if the teenager, some teenager said, I don't like him, I don't like her. You say the problem now because you love your child and you love this new person coming into your life. So you have to really manage both in keeping the family stable because you don't want one person already dead. You don't want conflict and trouble. You understand? So you'll have to sit down and probably have what they call a family meeting. All right? Because a number of step families, they're experiencing a lot of conflict because how the relationship started. The children were not informed. One young lady said that she wasn't even invited to the wedding after the mother passed on and daddy get married to somebody. She was not even invited to the wedding. She just saw this person. And, she was just the person was introduced as, this is my new husband, this is my husband. And so the retaliation started in the place. And that can create big problems in the family. All right? So discuss with your children. And if they are young adults, even worse. You say, I am getting lonely, or I have fallen in love with somebody else. Else could be the person, probably daddy's not dead. That's another thing. Or mommy is not dead. And the child is hoping that the relationship, their biggest wish is for the relationship to work. They're hoping that daddy will come back home or mommy will come back home, but then to see a new face, they have that today because they're still struggling with that. All right? So it is important that you have a family psychologist to really help you to work through this with the family before you even get into that relationship. And if it means that the psychologist needs to bring that person into the meeting and to really have a open, honest talk, that's important. All right? When relationships break up, parents in families, father-mother relationship, don't just behave as though it's nothing to the child. Tell them why the breakup appropriate at the appropriate time, or the amount of information they need to get. All right. So what you relate to a teenager, you may not relate that to the 8-year-old or the 5-year-old or the 2-year-old. All right. So you tell them at the appropriate time, give them the appropriate information so that daddy and I break up because of XYZ. Don't allow the child to be wondering, so how daddy just pack and gone? How mommy just pack and gone, so and nobody don't, as though they are nobody and nobody said anything to me. Then I see this new person come. They are going to retaliate. They're going to resist. And that's why some children even run away from home because they can't deal with all of this emotional trauma and turbulence. Yeah? They cannot deal with it. And we may say they are bad, they run gone. Sometimes they just cannot deal with the family trauma at this time. All right, so talk to them. And so, how the step family is going to work out now is when would have spoken through, introduce the person to the children, yes, and just say, "This is my friend. We're hoping to get married," and give it some time. Yes, never, as step parents, never keep your children away from either of the parents. All right. So if mommy moves out, daddy don't hold the children and say you're not going to your mother's house. You're not. I don't want nothing to do. I said the children have nothing to. No, if you and mommy break up, daddy, right? Sad, but don't add more trauma to the child by saying you are not going where your mommy is, or you are not going where your father is, because that is adding more trauma to the child's emotional state. All right. So you may say that, daddy, mommy, because the environment, the environment to which the child, to the parents is to maybe going into. What you understand? So you may have a nice, decent home, but for some reason, one person break away, and who they're going to live with, even the very area, physical area, community. You say, "I don't want my child to go to that community at all." Yes? So you may have reasons. So you need to strike a balance. So you say, "Okay, since I don't want her to go to that community, probably you could come to my house and visit the child." Because I never want, because she could be going down that community and get a gunshot. Or some man could rape her. All right? Or so they could push drugs on my son. So I don't want them to go there. So allow the child to, the parents to visit, to take the child out to get ice cream or whatever. We're talking about building good family life. All right? And as we look at the types of family, we want to have quality family life, because everybody will not have this lovely nuclear family. There are going to be various issues that happen, and families do break up at times. It is not God's intention, not God's ideal, but it happens. I say to families, when you see the conflict coming and so on, and you can't handle it, have family meetings, it's not working out, get a mediator. Get someone to come in and to talk to everybody and to hear the views of everybody. All right? So the step family, it can work. There are some beautiful step related situation families out there that are working beautifully. All right. We also have research has shown that abuse happens so much in among stepfathers and children. All right. And that's not healthy for our children. All right. Um, we have we also have situations where children, let's say, so mommy and daddy is together, and they may have three children. All right, daddy has moved on, and he may have taken one with him or so, or he may have left all three with mommy because he's gone on to another life, another relationship. And then this person comes, and mommy is not pregnant for him, and another baby is in the picture, another child. Parents, ensure that you don't treat that child more special than the three for daddy, for the first three, because that can create some problems and, animosity in the family. You know, it may not be easy, because to have that balance, mommy. Why? Because daddy may he may have been an abusive father, and I'm not hitting the males, but daddy may have been an abusive father, and so the relationship finished, and probably you're very angry, and you're looking at his three children who has left behind, and probably one of them look dead stamp like him, or they behave like him, or they walk like him, and you're still you feel so annoyed with them, but you have to deal with them because they are your children. And then Mr. Handsome comes along, Mr. Prince, and he gives you a child, and you are so loving and you adore this child. Make sure, we're talking about family types here. Make sure the child doesn't feel that the other three or the other two or the other one does not feel that, hey, I am hated by mommy. Mommy don't love me anymore. She loves this one better than me. Because it's going to cause these first set of children to start hating the newborn or the other child that comes in, or sometimes the father comes in with a child already, probably an 8 year old, a 5 year old, whatever, comes, and then that can cause more conflict. All right? So we have to be aware of those things. The grandparent family. While it is good to have your grandparents, while it is good to have grandparents raising children, it is said that grandparents are really tired. They really can't manage. They would have raised you, us, and so they're expecting us not to bring our children to leave on them. A number of grandparents are raising children for various reasons. Whether it's because the parents are working, they don't have the time, they're not in the parish, not in the country, or the parents might have died, or they've gone on to other relationships. So a number of grandparents are actually raising children. It is said that grandparents tend to spoil the children. It may be so, but it could also mean that grandparents are also tired. So the energy they had when they were training you, raising you, yeah, they don't have that energy anymore. So let's not take comfort to say that when I was a child, my grandparents, you couldn't joke with them. They were so strict, they disciplined me, and so on. But you find that that's years ago. Now that you have given them your child to raise or left your child on them, they don't have the energy. All right? They don't have it. They wish they could keep up with them, but they don't. So it's not the best thing for grandparents to be raising our children. Parents need to raise their own children. All right? So you find that in some situation where grandparents are raising children, either they are spoiled or they get out of control. Not in all cases. I said some because some grandparents still have it. Yes, you have some young grandparents who still have the energy and they're upbeat and they're there riding the waves at whichever stage of development the child is at. They are there, all right, holding the fort. You know, for example, if the parents are aware or so, and I said, they soon take you up. You know, some grandparents are holding the fort, all right. Some children, though, being with their grandparents, they can develop a sense of feeling abandoned. Yes. Even though you're sending whatever for them and so on, and they can feel a sense of abandonment. So it's important, parents, that you talk to them as often as you can, affirm them, assure them that you're there and you love them, and you're not just leaving them on grandparents. And if you're working towards taking them where you are, let them know. But then another set of children know that there's no taking because you're going to start a family somewhere else. You understand? And so I'm going to start a family somewhere else. And so that can affect them. So there's this longing. Mommy, I can come where you live. I can come to see my brother, my sister. No, you can't come because the other partner don't want any other children there except his children or her own children. All right. So those children, they're caught between. It's hard because they want to go with mommy, and probably sometimes mommy wants to take them or daddy wants to take them, but the other person who they have now started a family with, they don't want them there. All right. So the family dynamics, it's a lot. It's a lot. All right. Then we have the sibling family. Sibling family, as I said earlier, is where no mother, no father, but big brother, big sister is taking care of the family. Now, sibling family, it could be a responsible big brother or big sister, but sometimes they are young themselves and not mature enough to manage, you know, they the raising of a family. And you'll find that they'll become frustrated at times because when they should be studying or just developing as a young adult and so on, they have to be responsible for the younger ones to get up in the mornings, to go to school, to do homework, to make sure they come home, to make sure they are safe, and all of that. So, parents, your role to be in the home, not to leave up the raising of the children to the older siblings. It's not a good thing. So your role is really to be there for them. I know in some cases, daddy may have migrated, and then he said, "Mommy, you will come next because we need to buy the house for the children." So then the big brother and the big sister, they have to run things. Sometimes they appear to be okay, but they are really under stress and pressure. Especially if there you have situation where the younger ones are behaving themselves, they're into drugs, promiscuity, that is all over the place. It can stress out the older sibling who is left with the awesome responsibility of taking care of that family. And you find that sometimes some of them decide in their heart, I don't want a family. I don't want to get married because it was just so hard growing up raising my siblings that when they become to the stage of adulthood to start a family of their own, some of them decide that I just don't want a family because that like, it's as though they've already raised a family in their young life. All right? Family life is important. The importance of a family. It's very, very important to have family. So, family is important because it provides love, support, and a framework of values to each of its members. So families do have values, all right? What is standard in this family may not be standard in another family, all right? What is tradition in this family may not be a tradition in another family. And grandparents, they are good at passing on traditions. So don't keep your children away from the grandparents. Let grandparents tell them stories, things about the family history and so on, and preferably the positive stories. Yes. So when they go around the grandparents, they must not be hearing just the negative and the abuse and the wrong, the things that will impact the children's mind negatively. But tell them the values. We believe our tradition is this. We believe in this. We go to church. We serve God. We believe in honesty. We are people who are hardworking. Let them tell them about the values. All right. We are people who are ambitious and so on. It is important. Sometimes grandparents don't feel important in families. Sometimes in some families. All right. So if the grandparents feel that they are pushed aside in a back room, we're killing them off fast, fast, fast. All right. Or the child keeps saying, "Grandma no smell good," or "Grandpa no smell good," and say it outwardly. Yes, grandpa can't touch them and so on. Grandma can't touch them. Those things will affect the tone of the family. All right? And then your parents are there, but your children scorn them. That can affect the family. All right? So family is important. Family members teach each other, serve one another, and share life's joys and sorrows. Families must be there for each other. It's a blood thicker than water. If I hear that saying, yes, blood thicker than water. Families are important. It's important to be in a family. Yes, some persons may have been raised in a single home, single parent family, or they have been adopted and so on. And some of them still don't feel a sense of familyness. But it is important that we surround each other as a family, share the successes and failures. So when a family member fail, we should feel it because the family is like the body. Yes, so if you buck your big toe, all your brain feel it, everything feel it. Not true? Yes. Your entire body feel it, even though the toe got hurt. So it should be, it ought to be with the family that when one family member is hurting, it affects the other members. All right? I remember years ago when we were children in my family, if one person is hurting, like having a toothache or whatever, the other person crying too. All right? So we should have that, family should have that sense of togetherness. So you share the joys, share the sorrows. So if somebody pass exam or do well in something or get a good job or you understand, graduate and get honors and so on, everybody should be rejoicing. If somebody gets locked up behind bars, a family member, it should affect the family. So it shouldn't be a situation where me not business with him, me not live with them live, me not business with them. No, no. It should affect you as the family. All right? Family should provide support for growth and development. All right? The family is the single most influence in the child's life. The family. Mother, father, you are the first teacher. All right? The home is where the child learns a lot of things before they actually come out to school. And so the family, I'm going to wrap up here for tonight because for the entire month we're looking at the family. We'll be looking at the family. So the family is the single most important influence in a child's life. And all of us were children at one point in our lives. All right? So the family is say it again, the most important influence in a child life. So the person you are today, yes, your personality, your attitude, your beliefs, your values were shaped in the family. That's where it started. And I said, from pregnancy, if you get that rub, mommy, when you were pregnant, that touch, that comforting, feeling, that feeling of acceptance and appreciation, you'll grow up with it from the tummy. All right? So the family is important. I want to rest my case for tonight. We will continue next week, Thursday night. The Lord bless you.
The Bible says that he was pierced for our transgressions. He was crushed for our iniquities. The punishment that brought us peace was upon him, and by his wounds we are healed. Whatever you've gone through, I know of mothers that have died of a broken heart. I know of fathers that have died of a broken heart. I know children that are not well because they have a broken heart. And they just can't take it and they give up. Well, I don't really understand this, but I know that every broken heart, Jesus Christ bore that on the cross. He carried every pain that I've ever suffered and that I will ever suffer. Every heartache that you've had, he bore it and will bear for you. No one is a friend like Jesus.